unanimous hello to everybody that's joining us on YouTube and watching this sort of after the fact. And we're also bound to have other people joining us. This is a really, really popular session. Today, we're talking about the next launch, next iteration of the CMA templates. And we're very lucky today to be joined by Rowan Williams. He's got his camera off because I know he's busy doing other bits and pieces. Ah, there we go. There we go. There's Rowan. Rowan is the designer who's put these together for you. And so Rowan looks after all things CMA marketing wise, or Rowan and his team actually. So Rowan heads up a team of people who look after all of our social, all of our marketing, and of course, you know, created the templates for us as well. So thank you for that. And Rowan, thank you for joining. The reason, Rowan, if you want to turn your screen off, because I know you're going to be doing other bits and pieces, but if I need you, I will holler and I will call your name really loudly. And hopefully that will just let you know that you're needed in the group. The reason for Rowan sitting in today is, as I said to you, everybody, Rowan is he's a chap who's designed these. We had chats in our marketing meetings, and Rowan went away and actually created these templates and the last batch for us. Now, the first thing I need to tell you about the templates is that you will get, as a CMA member, you will get from us as soon as this new batch is uploaded to the CMA site. We haven't uploaded them yet because what we do is we want to talk them through with you first, rather than just simply uploading them and go, wallop, there you go, there's a load of templates, get on with it. What we actually want to do is to make sure that you know exactly how to use them, how to edit them, and how to make any changes that you might want to make, because the idea is that these are very flexible. So for all CMA members, what will happen is you'll get an email from us in the next few days, as soon as they've been uploaded by our tech team, and then you'll actually get the secret link. Now, why do we call it a secret link? It's because it's a secret link. The reason we do this is because, and I'll be absolutely straight with you because I always am, the existing CMA website is being redeveloped. The existing CMA website in a couple of months will be gone, and the new website will be launched. We're hoping it's going to be no more than a couple of months. It's taken a long time to get to the point we're at already. And so, so we're not going to put any more resource or capital into redeveloping anything on the existing CMA website. All of our energy and expenditure is going into the new site, which I'm sure you would agree is completely logical, and that's a sensible way of doing things. So what we've done with these templates is we've put them up onto a page on the CMA site. We haven't made a firewall or anything like that for you to have to get through. So we will just simply send you a link that is your specific link. Don't give it to anybody else. And then that way you can just simply log into that particular page just by clicking that link. And there, lo and behold, all of your templates will be. So that's the simplest and most easy way we could think of making it so that you can access them without having to go through layers and layers and layers of security, which would be very time consuming for us and very expensive, where we would far rather be spending all of that time and energy and money on the new site, of course. So, hi, Sunita, I just want to say hello to you. You've just come in. That's lovely to see you. So let's get ourselves ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to speaker view first. So if you guys can mute yourselves, that would be brilliant. I think actually probably everybody has. And the first thing I'm going to do is to share my screen with you. And I've got to find, oh, hang on one sec before I do that. I just saw somebody else trying to get in as well. Justina. Okay. Good. All right, now I'm going to share my screen. Hi, Justina. Lovely to see you. So what we're going to start off with, I think, is the CMA loyalty card. So let me go on to that one for you. Okay, let me just get rid of that there because we were practicing something. So I'm hoping that you can see my whole screen. If not, let me just remove us. Right, okay. So the loyalty card is basically, let me start here. It's like a little, like a credit card size thing. So it goes in your wallet, and it's a bit like a coffee card or anything along those lines. But the designers, Rowan and his team, very cleverly have put beautiful little flower things. So you'll need to get yourself a stamp. okay, in order to be able to, stamp the attendances or whatever it is that you're rewarding them for as they go along. So you can decide how you want to use this, but importantly, this has been sent to you as a PowerPoint. So you'll be able to download this as a PowerPoint itself. And this is the trick. This is where things are editable for you. So you would go in, you would click on the words on the screen, just as you would for any PowerPoint, and actually input your own details, and of course also input a logo there. So for example, if you wanted to, let's say, fine, let me see if I can go to a gazillion documents. Let's see if I can find a CMA logo. Right, right, bear with me 1 second. Right, let me grab those ones. Okay, so I'll grab a logo and I'll just drag it, click and drag into there. There we go. So it's as simple as, if you want to drop your logo in there, it's as simple as going to your list of files and you can resize to your heart's content and so on. Now, remembering, of course, that this is very large as you look at it on screen. And so, just by all means, fiddle around with it and so on. Remember, though, that the actual size of this is very small. The height of it in the real world, although it's all big on your screen, the actual height of it in the real world is, let's have a little look. It's about credit card size. Okay, so when it comes to printing it out, it's going to be credit card size. So remember that if you're putting, instead of a logo, but if you want to put something here, you're going to have to, maybe that size would work for you. Have a little play with it. If you find, that wording is not legible when this comes down to, let's see if I can reduce the size of, so if you can imagine, let's pretend, I don't know what you're seeing on your screen, but let's pretend that that is credit card size. Well, that company name is still actually very legible, but any smaller than that could get you into trouble. You may want to make it bigger. So let's just bring this back up again so we can see what we're doing. And then you would simply click on that. I triple click on my computer to highlight it. And then here you can go, you can increase the size, you can decrease the size. If you find you're losing things behind, let's say, your logo that you've carefully placed there, then you can actually make this bigger. And why we love PowerPoint for doing things is that it has guidelines. So can you see, as I move this around, can you see that there is that red line that comes up when that is centralized? Similarly with the logo, if I move the logo around, okay, you get lots of lovely guidelines. You can see that that logo is perfectly centered vertically and horizontally, because when I click on it, you'll see you've got the horizontal line, you've also got the vertical line. Now, I hope that you can see that okay, because sometimes when you're screen sharing, it can be quite tricky to see things because it comes out quite small. So I hope that's okay. So that is the first one. I'm going to stop sharing now and I'm going to come back to you all. Is that clear? Any questions at all? By all means, we're a small group today, so unmute yourselves if you've got any questions about the usability of that or how it works. And I'm then going to go back in and I'm going to show you how to export this so that it can actually go to your printer. So let me go back and I will, there we go. So what you'll do now is that you will, let's say it's all, you're happy with it, you've decided exactly how you want it to be. I'm just going to let somebody in. Okay, lovely. And so one other thing is, I've just realized you might want to put something else on here. For example, let me show you a nifty trick. If you decide, you know what, I've got the company name there, but actually what I want to do is I also want my phone number or my email or something like that there. On my computer, you'll go Command C for copy, and then you'll go, I love to use keyboard shortcuts, Command V, And what that's done is it's copied and pasted another exact copy of what you've just got up the top there. Now, you can see my guides all popping up. And what I would then do would be telephone number 0800 841 1066. So 1066, that's the CMA new free phone number. And again, that might be too big for you. So you might want to just reduce that in size. It's still going to be legible, but again, that's probably too close. So why don't you move it down a little bit and play with it to your heart's content? You're not going to break it, and even if you do send it all completely wrong, it doesn't matter, because you can always go and re-download it. So honestly, truly, play with it to your heart's content. If you break it, good. It means you're working with it. So how do you export it? Because you might want, how are you going to deal with this? How are you going to work with this in the real world? Well, I think that you'll be probably printing these, sending this artwork to a printer, maybe somebody like Vistaprint, for example, or if you've got your own 10 printing company, then so much the better. We've got a great printing company called Print Express, who are very, very well priced, very ridiculously low priced actually, but for incredibly high quality work. They don't charge for delivery, and they will even do same day print for you. So that's a company called Print Express. We're not, this is not a, I'm not on commission, alas, because I've recommended them for years and years and years, but it's only because they're really good. And you know us, if we find something we like, we always just recommend it to you. We don't do affiliate links or anything silly like that. If we did, we would declare it. So it's not an affiliate link. Print Express are fabulous. And if you go through to them, speak to my man, Abbas, A-B-B-A-S, and say you were sent by Jamie from the CMA, and he'll look after you. Okay, it makes it sound like the mafia, doesn't it? But it's not. So how would you export this for your printer? Ask your printer, whether it's Vistaprint or something else like that, ask them what format they would like. I've just seen a question, I think, come up in the chat box. Oh, JC, hi. JC says, I can help with moderation if I need. JC, that's really kind of you. When I stop sharing the screen, I'll come back to you and I'll make you co-host. But for the time being, I just want to get through this bit here. Fabulous. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. You're so lovely. So what you'll do, once you know the file format that your printer actually wants, then you'll export this. So what you'll do is you'll go to File and you'll go to Export. It's all very straightforward. And of course, you'll have this video to check back on. If you've got any questions at all, you can send us an email. And so it says there, you give it a name. I mean, you want to keep, might want to keep it a CMA loyalty card version 3, because we've had 3 goes at this, or you might want to call it something like My Loyalty Card, or my/CMA loyalty card, something like that, and save it in the right, file for you, whatever that file is, wherever you want to save it on your computer, whatever makes sense to you. Okay, and then you've got various options. So this is your friend. File format is always your friend when you're exporting files. It gives you all sorts of file format options. Your printer might say they want your file as a PNG, or they might want it as a JPEG, possibly, but sometimes the problem with JPEGs is that sometimes the print quality isn't all that good. You can lose quality. So I would suggest probably not a JPEG or a PDF. A lot of printers are really happy to work with a PDF as well. So ask your printer, ask them the question, what file format would you like this in? And you then simply say PDF, whatever, and then you'll click on export, and so it will be. And it will then be exported out to your PDF. So that's the first one. Let me stop sharing, going to come back to you. And JC, let me find you, my lovely. And oh, there we go. Hang on, no, where are you? JC. Oh, there you are, JC. Right, okay. I'm setting you as co-host, lovely. Okay. Great stuff. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you, JC. Smashing. So if anybody else comes in, then just you know how to admit them. So that's fabulous. Right. Okay. So any questions about that? Any questions about the file format, about how to export, or anything else at all? Okay. All right. Lovely. Righty ho. So in that case, we will go on to the next one, which is the CMA gift card. So I'm going to just get that up. I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to share my screen again. And let me see, loyalty card, gift card. Okay, this is the one we want. Great. Okay, so we've got, this is a general one. So this is just generally throughout the year, you know, if you wanted to, you know, if you wanted to just have a general gift card, that's fine. In the same way, you would put your company name in, or your name, however you brand yourself, bring your logo in here. And it's very, very easy and very, very straightforward. Again, if you wanted to drop your phone number or your email or anything like that, copy and just copy that box, click on the box to copy it, copy and paste. Okay, so it gives you another version. Just pick it up with your mouse and drop it down there, making sure it's all beautifully lined up, because this is one thing with me and artwork. I literally have to have everything so aligned. It's really, I'm obsessive about having things lined up properly. I don't know what that says about me, probably something really odd. So just let's keep that between ourselves. You, me and the gatepost, everybody, right? And then on the other side, we've got a gift voucher just for you. Now, this is a bigger size. This is an A5 size, I believe I'm right in saying. Rowan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's A5. So that is, so you, of course, you know, is half a sheet of A4. It's about that size, if that makes any sense. Excuse my disgusting nail polish. I've been running around like a maniac doing Christmas preparations and all sorts of crazy things, and I've had no time to myself, so I'm a bit of a wreck, but the place looks nice. And the kitchen hasn't done anything terrible just yet, touch wood. So anyway, so you just have to excuse my appearance. So anyway, this is a lovely, you know, this is a lovely gift voucher. So again, you know, you can put your details in. We've left the, you know, proud member of the CMA, because again, obviously, as you are a CMA member, it's really worth just making sure that you've got, you know, got that in, and that you're, you know, really displaying your CMA membership with pride, because, you know, after all, that's what it's for. It's, you know, it's to show everybody that you've gone to that, the extra lengths of, you know, aligning with the world's leading organization, you know, by getting, you know, by getting your qualifications, by proving to us you've got your qualifications and your insurance and so on. And so what it means is that, you know, you're really demonstrating your commitment to absolute excellence. Patients love that, but they need to see that sort of thing. So again, if you were exporting, you go File, export, very, very straightforward, very obvious what you have to do. It will bring up a dialog box for you. Again, you'll check with your printer to see whether you're doing a PNG or a PDF file format. Very, very easy. Click on export and out it goes. So any questions about this one? How are we getting on? Okay, do you like it? Is it good? Okay, excellent. Rowan, I don't know if you can just comment. I've got a question, and that is the backgrounds. I know in the other templates, in the Word documents, those backgrounds are actually editable. I'm not sure whether they're editable. Hi, thanks for coming back into the group, Rowan. Are those backgrounds that we've got at the moment, are they editable? Can we actually move one thing over to another, or how does that work at the moment?
Yes, so hello everyone. So they are actually editable. To access the backgrounds, however, you will need to go into the View tab and then into a section called Slide Master. So these are usually what we call template slides. So we built the backgrounds in that section under Slide Master under the View tab,
Right.
and that essentially stops you from moving things around unintentionally. But if you were to intentionally do it, you can do it using that view.
That's fantastic, Rowan. Thank you. I'm going to go back in and do that. Thank you very, very much. So yeah, it's a bit more of an advanced sort of level, isn't it? But let me go back and share the screen, because I think it would be quite interesting just to quickly give you a quick look behind the scenes on how these are set up. So as Rowan just said, you would go, so you'll click on the slide itself, you'll go into view, you'll go into master, and then you'll go into slide master. And then that will allow you to change backgrounds and things like that. Okay, so you can put a different background in if you wanted to, or change the color and things like that. Now, I don't necessarily suggest, this is where you'll do all of that stuff. I don't necessarily suggest you do that, but if you really wanted to, you could. Alternatively, if you really got stuck, I'm sure that we would find time to be able to do that for you if you really wanted to change things around. But they are quite, they are really quite attractive, and I think they're very tasteful. And I think, there's something that is very usable, and it's not garish or anything like that. So I think they work well. I think they're very good for the purpose they're intended for. So, okay, I'm going to stop sharing, put the teeth back in, and come back to you. So any questions at all? Is everything absolutely clear? Let's have a little look. I'm going to go back to my chat just to see if there's anything in there. No, not yet. Okay. All right, so let's have a little look at now this is the Christmas one, so I'm going to share my season's greetings. So bear with me 1 second. There we go. Let's share that one. Right, okay. So this one, here we go. So we put a sort of a Christmassy design behind it, but obviously, we're more than aware that, that lots of people are celebrating at this time of year. And they might not well be celebrating Christmas. They might be celebrating Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all sorts of different, Yule, all sorts of different celebrations at this time of year. So we've kept it as a sort of a more generic, we've called it Season's Greetings. It's a much more generic sort of card. So that's why we've done it this way. Again, very easy to, pop your logo in, company name in, put your contact details down there if you wish to do so, always probably a good idea. And then obviously a lovely gift voucher just for you. So again, these are great because these are things that you can use to build your practice, because people are always thinking, oh, I'd love to get something for so-and-so, so-and-so. If, let's say, somebody's coming to you and, you're doing wonderful services, as of course I know you are, wouldn't it be a lovely thing? Somebody says, what do you want for Christmas? Well, if people know, if your clients know that you've got gift vouchers, why don't, they'd be only too happy, rather than getting yet another pair of socks or, a set of saucepans. Why don't they get a gift voucher? I think that's a lovely thing. I got gift vouchers last year because I don't need anything. I have no need. I'm very lucky, very fortunate. I've no need for anything at all. And so quite honestly, people said, what do you want? And I said, could I please have gift vouchers for Amy Levin? Because she's, I don't know, I know Jill will know Amy, others of you may or may not do. Amy Levin, the chocolatier, she's a raw vegan chef, and yes, Jill's nodding, yes. She is the goddess of raw chocolate. She is a genius, this woman. I would just be so unworthy to even be in her shadow, but I do like to make chocolate, and so I got vouchers, and I was so pleased with those vouchers. So I really strongly suggest you, in your practice, make it be known that you do have vouchers available, because I think loads of people will be buying vouchers to come and buying their friends and family members vouchers. So it's a fabulous thing. It increases your income, but also, of course, it grows your practice. So that's another thing that's very valuable, very important. So do please remember to use that device, because it's crucial. It's a really super thing. Right, okay, so then the next thing I'm going to go on to, just make sure I've got, the next thing is the email signature template. So I'm going to go into that and just share my screen. Okay, email signature template, right, that's the one. Okay, so there we go. We've actually got a link for you, and I'm hoping if I click the link, it's going to take you through to where I want to take you to today. but you'll have to let me know when we get to that point. So an email signature template is, as you know, at the end of your emails, you can just either sign off, you know, best wishes, Joe Blogs, or, you know, best wishes, Joe Blogs, president of blah, blah, or managing director, or, you know, chief cook and bottle washer of XYZ practice, or what have you. But, you know, you've got to have your contact details under there and so on. And it can all be very generic and very, very boring and so on. So wouldn't it be amazing if there was such a thing as a magical system that would be able to include all of your details? Things like company name, your email, your name, email address, phone number, company website, social media links, the fact you're a proud member of the CMA, and your logo here. Wouldn't it be amazing if something like that existed? Well, happy days. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back and just bring you guys back up the top. Can you see now an email site called Mail Signatures? Give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Or do I need to reshare my screen? I'm not
I think you'll need to reshare, Janie.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very, very much. Let me just go back into share screen. And there we go. Lovely. Thanks a lot. Sometimes it doesn't, you can't just click around. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so here we are with something called Mail Signatures. This is one that was found by Rowan and his team. This is brilliant. It's a free email signature generator. And look at all these incredible templates, and you've got so much to choose from. You can choose your email platform, so whether you're using Gmail or Apple Mail or Outlook or Outlook 365 or just general boring Outlook or any of these others. So choose the one that you're using. In my case, it would be Gmail. Enter your signature details, your first name, last name, job title, if you have one, email address, phone number, mobile number, if you want to give both of those. Then you've got things like, you can even add things like company data, company name, website, always good to put your website in, address if you want to, graphics. Are there any, would you like to add your logo, for example? Would you like to add the CMA logo? Well, of course, I know you've all got a copy of the CMA logo. So you can add that in there. Remember, you know, you can resize it. So you've obviously got a larger version, because the larger we give you a logo, the easier it is for it to be shrunk down without anything nasty happening to it, like pixelating. It's only when you blow graphics up that they start going really pixelated and horrid and fuzzy and not particularly good quality. You've got things like, you know, you can have like a little banner URL which can link to a particular place on your website. Let's say you'd written a new book and you really wanted to take people directly to that page on your website. You could put that in here. Or let's say, for example, you wanted to take people to a booking system. You could put your booking system page there, let's say like a Calendly or any of those. So these things are really amazing. And then what if you need to put a disclaimer in? Well, sometimes we might need to put a medical disclaimer in, for example, you know, any information in this email is not to be construed as medical advice, blah, 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 usual stuff, and so on. And then you've got options for style, so you can change the colors, change the fonts, all sorts of different things you can play with. Now, I will say one word to the wise. When you are, if you're on a particular platform, let's say Gmail, for example, and you are sending an email cross-platform to something like, let's say, Outlook or Hotmail or one of those, the fact that you've chosen to use Arial should be fine. Your email will render across to the other person's platform at their end perfectly fine and should look really nice. But if you start getting fancy with fonts, then you can get into trouble, because some fonts do not render well across platforms, and you'll just get gibberish at best or really amateurish looking fonts. So please stick to these very, very standard. Arial to Homer, Verdana, Times New Roman. Please do not use Comic Sans in your emails. It's been proven, I'm a font geek, it's been proven that Comic Sans instantly makes you'll lose all credibility. you look as though you're not a serious person if you use Comic Sans, as the name suggests. So don't, just don't. Okay. Courier New is fine. Lucida Console is fine. We use Verdana in the CMA for our emails because it's a nice sans serif font, which means it doesn't have serifs. Serifs are the things that, if you look at Times New Roman, for example, you'll see that it's got little twiddly bits hanging off the letters. Those are called serifs if you're not into fonts. So the thing about those is those work brilliantly in print. If you're producing something for print, then use a serif font because it's easier. It's why books are printed. Most books are printed in a serif font with those little twiddly bits because it's been shown in research that that is easier to read. On a screen, on a computer screen, so remember we're dealing with emails right now, on a computer screen, a sans serif, meaning without a serif font, is far more legible. So don't be tempted to use a serif font like a Times New Roman, or in our case, we use something called Baskerville. Don't use that as the main body of any text at all because it isn't as legible. And the person will get, essentially their eyes will get tired and they won't be able to take in the information you're telling them that your article is talking about. So do be aware of that, what you can use in print versus what you can use on screen for maximum effect. Okay, I hope it's a little aside, but I hope it's helpful. Okay. And then you've got, of course, all important social media links. So this is where you would put in your social media links. Now, how do you get these? Okay, so if you want to put in your Facebook link, go to your Facebook professional page on Facebook. Don't put your ordinary bog standard everyday Facebook feed in because your clients should not be looking at what you had for breakfast, really, let's face it. Or your latest, your latest family pics. It's probably not really what you want your clients to be looking at. You probably want your clients to be looking at more educational things that they're going to look at your professional page and go, oh, wow, what an interesting load of information this person shares. Wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad I'm with this practitioner. Okay, so go to your professional page, for example, on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or wherever, and simply, once you're on that page, go to the top of, you do it on a computer, go to the top of the screen where the URL bar is, your address bar, URL bar, copy that and drop that into here or wherever for the relevant, for the relevant social media platform. And then that will magically put this into your signature. It is absolutely excellent. So here's an example. Here's the preview. So this is where you chose to use this particular one. Let's have a little look. This is the preview for this particular module. Here's one here for this particular model. All of these graphics can be changed. And so it goes on. This thing is absolutely amazing. It's just absolutely endless. I'm just going to see if I can minimize this up here and see if there are any others that we can go along that might be pretty. Yeah, let's say you're doing some sort of offer. Okay, it's Black Friday today, so yeah. So they've put that in there very cleverly. But let's say you've got an offer going on. Well, you've got that little bit there over here where you can drop that graphic in. Okay, so make sure that it's sized correctly and all the rest of it for this particular layout. But do you see how professional these would look after your emails? It's a most fabulous system, and we really do have Rowan to thank for finding this for us. And it's free. I mean, why wouldn't you use it? It's absolutely tremendous. All of these bits and pieces are all completely editable. It's fabulous. It really, really is. And I think I might be right in thinking, I mean, this is free. I'm just wondering whether there's no, it doesn't even look as though there's an actual thing it says at the end, advertising them. It may do. It may say email signature created by Mail Signatures. Usually with these things, if you want to have none of their branding on, you just upgrade, and something like this would be, I'm just wondering though, because just wondering whether signature tools doesn't even seem to be anywhere that you can even pay these guys for this. Rowan, do you know if this is a paid service or?
It is, yeah. So
Ah,
obviously they've got the signature generator, which is free.
yeah,
However, their commercial tool is usually for more enterprise services,
right.
where you've got 50 employees, you can manage all of their email signatures centrally.
Ah,
So excuse me. So each person's will update automatically, and that's how they tend to make their money. So they're not really interested in taking your money as a practitioner, and they're happy to provide this as a free service. However, when you dominate the world and have 50 practices, then they'll probably be more interested in you.
fantastic. Yes, thank you. That really makes sense. That's really, really brilliant. I think it's really an eye-opener to see something of such quality and such usefulness actually being made free for the small business. So honestly, Rowan, hats off. Thank you so much for sourcing that for us. I know we're all very, very grateful. Okay, and then finally, any questions? Sorry, I'm moving swiftly on without asking you guys and checking back in with you. Any questions about any of that at all? I can only assume it's because I have explained everything so perfectly that you have no questions. I hope that's the case. I hope it's not that I'm baffling you with my waffle. I really do hope so. Anyway, finally, let's go over to, I'm just going to launch this final one because this does take a bit of explaining and talking through. So finally, what we're talking about today is our press release template. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, and here we go. Okay, and this is really, really super, super useful to you. Okay, what this is, so you would, if you remember what we've done previously, last time we did the templates, we explained that we created these lovely templates for you. If you remember as well, we've got these pretty backgrounds. Here we've got this lovely X-ray of tulips, but you remember that we've got all of those other beautiful flower pictures on the other templates. If you decided for whatever reason you didn't like tulips, you can easily just lift another background off and put it onto the Word document if you felt that you needed to do so. And then of course, you've got your logo there. So, this is where you would simply delete this little holding box. Doesn't have to be purple, just drop your own logo in there because that's important, because this is a press release template that you're going to be using in-house, and then you might wish to actually repurpose this as an actual document by just doing a few little tweaks and changes that you would actually use to send out as a press release to the media. Okay, bear with me one second, I see another chat coming up. Okay. Rowan says, thanks, Rowan. That's going back to email signatures. Once you've generated your amazing email signature, you can simply copy and paste the email signature into your settings area of your email system. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it is. It's very, very simple to get that in there. Thank you. I'd forgotten to actually say about that. That's really true. Just wondering if I can, no, it's different on all platforms. On Gmail, there's like a little cog at the top right-hand corner, and that's your settings. You'll go in there, and then it's very basic settings, and you then have to click on advanced settings, but don't let that put you off because it's really not advanced. And then scroll right down to the bottom, it says signature, email signature. You would just simply drop that in, the code, it will give you code, you drop that in, and it magically creates a signature for you. It's very, very simple. And if you get stuck, we can help you. Of course, that's what we're here for. Okay, so back to press releases. So we've got our press release, and so what we've got there is we've got a template for you. So we would suggest that you use this as a thinking tool to help you get everything you need into your press release. Now, the reason we have to be very careful with press releases is because what we don't want to do is to send a press release out to our key targeted journalist and find that we've basically gone off like a damp squib and we haven't done our homework about what they want from us and what's going to be useful and easily utilizable by them. Remember, as I've always said to you time and time again, with journalists, when you're dealing with journalists, you've got to make sure that you are essentially giving them everything on a golden platter, because you don't want them to have to think, oh, what's this person talking to me about? What's this person actually mean? What are they? I don't understand. As soon as they have to ask a question in their head, literally they're on to the next job because they are so busy. These people are so stressed and so busy. So this is why you've got to hit them so they know exactly what you are talking about immediately from the get-go. So this template is going to help you get your thoughts completely sorted out so you can get the best possible, most useful, most understandable press release out to your target audience. So, okay, so this is where you, at the top, you would obviously say you take out press release template. And ultimately, what you would do with all of this information is you wouldn't send it as an attachment, you would send it as an email in this day and age, okay? But this is what we would suggest you do is print this out, this document out, and sit with it and look at it and actually use it to get your thoughts in order. So again, you've got to write your target person's details there, so you know precisely who you're targeting and how you're going to get hold of them. Then you've got a summary of your practice, your company, whatever it is. What industry are you in? What's your mission statement? Who are your management team, if you've got such a thing? Maybe it's just you. What are your products and services? So just put that up there, because we'll come back to that. It's kind of just there for your own thought and thinking patterns. Right, the next thing you need to know with a press release is whether your press release is going to be for immediate release, which means literally as soon as it lands in the journalist's inbox, are they going to be able to write about your story immediately? Or if you're doing a launch of something, let's say you've got a book launch or a practice launch or something like that, are you going to embargo this release so that if you're sending the release out to several different sources, several different journalists, let's say, and you want them all writing about this wonderful happening, and you want them to all go out at the same time to make the most impact you possibly can, then you're going to want to embargo your press release. Now, journalists know that if they don't stick to an embargoed date and they get something out and they write about your release prior to the embargo date, they know they will never, ever get anything from you again, ever. So journalists are really good at sticking to embargoed dates. So just decide for yourself whether it's for immediate release or whether it's embargoed. Now, one other word to the wise. Now, I have done a whole video on press releases and how to create them, how to use them, and so on. So remember, go look at that video for real in-depth stuff. But I just want to say this here for you again. If you are cultivating a relationship with a journalist, then do not send your release out to 10 other journalists, or even one other journalist. Because the problem is that if you're giving them a scoop that is going to set them up for being, you know, breaking a news story or writing about something really, really special, you don't want to give that to a gazillion other people if this journalist is somebody you're really, really trying to cultivate a relationship with, because they'll just go, I'm not special. I'm not special anymore. You don't love me like you should. So the thing is, you've got to make sure you think it through. Think about your end game when you're doing all of this stuff. I will say to you, press releases and getting into the media, it's a relationship game. It's who you know and who you help. And as I've said to you before, you know, where I've done ghostwriting for the Times, a particular journalist in the Times who was, and then, you know, various other Men's Health magazine, I've done ghostwriting for them. It does pay off because, you know, eventually they get to the point where they feel so guilty that they've asked so many favors of you that they come back and then they give you a 2, 3, 4 page spread all about you, which massively grows your business. And for example, with me, with the 3-page spread I had in the Sunday Times, you know, and it was all about one of my earlier books, Complementary and Alternative Medicine, what really works, the definitive guide to what really works. It's a huge, great, fat research-based encyclopedia. And then, you know, that was given a 3-page spread, and my work and the CMA was covered in the Times, and it massively grew the CMA. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would not be able to afford the £150,000 that would have cost me to get that, just that one load of advertising, a 3-page advert, if you like, in the Times. So this is why we cultivate relationships. Really important for you to know that. Okay, so that's embargoes and a little bit of an aside about journalists and how to work out whether you're sending to one or many. Headline, this is crucial. This is where you've got to grab them. Your eye-catching headline, drawing readers in, changing the face of the industry irrevocably. Now, this is a really good, this is a good thing, but you know what? What industry and why? How do you qualify irrevocably? You've got to qualify. You can't just make claims. You've got to say something that's so definitive that is absolutely unarguable. Okay. So, you could talk about a launch, you could talk about a book, you could say this book is going to change, rewind your body clock, will change your life. Rewind Your Body Clock, my latest book, will reverse your aging, 10 years younger in 3 weeks, something like that. You've got to say something really like, oh, wow, okay, and then you've got to qualify it. This is so important. So you've got to have a headline, and then maybe a subhead to qualify what you're talking about. And then what you've got to do is you've got to actually write your release. And here, what we've got for you is, these are the questions that must be answered in any press release. What is it you're talking about? Where, if it's geographical, where is it happening? If it's a book launch, is it online? Is it real world? Is it going into bookstores? If it's a new practice, where is the practice? For God's sake. I mean, honestly, the number of launches of wonderful things I see on Facebook, for example, that say, oh, wow, we've just got this amazing new menu launched. And I'm going, whoa, crikey, that looks fantastic. Some beautiful raw, vegan, specialized, gourmet, blah, blah, blah. I go to their Facebook page. Where are they? Where are they? I have no idea. Geographically, I have no idea where these people are. You've got to make sure you are answering these questions. So get your geographics in. That's what where is. Online, real world, doesn't matter. Say where it is. When? Don't do a launch and then not tell anybody the date. Please don't keep that a secret, because otherwise nobody will turn up. Who's doing it? Why should people turn up? I mean, these are the last two things. Who is it and why? Why is so important. You might even want to lead with the why. I'm inviting you to blah, blah, blah. Why? Because blah, blah, blah. And it's on the date. It's here at this location, and so on and so forth. And then who? Well, it's run by me. I'm the blah, 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 the leading expert in blah, blah, blah. All the things that I've told you to really know how to, really drill down, really understand your value, the value of the transformation you provide. And if you're wavering on that, go back and watch some of my videos. I was talking to one of my mentoring, I don't know if you know, but I do one-to-one business development mentoring. And I was talking to one of my mentees today, and I was getting her to go back, because I'm really working on building her confidence, because she's going to a very interesting demographic and she needs a lot of confidence to be able to do that. She's very confident already. But I've got a great video on the Complementary Medical Association YouTube channel called Mindset. If you ever need a little kick up the backside to get your mindset back into gear about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the immense value of what you bring into the world, go and watch that video, because it's the kick up the backside we all need from time to time. So I hope that's helpful. And then we've got other thinking points for you. Expand the summary, and this is where you can go into more details. Now, this form is very flexible. Okay, you don't have to fill out every single field, but look at it, analyze it, repurpose it for your needs, because each of your releases is going to be different. So we wanted to get in as much as we possibly could for you. And then let's say you've got somebody who is really influential. Let's say you happen to have a massive influencer in your back pocket, then why not, say, hey, dude, would you mind please just giving me a quote for my launch? And hopefully said dude will say, yeah, of course, absolutely. What do you want? flesh it out with them, as long as they're well known and as long as they're relevant and known, of course, by not just the journalists you're going to, but by that journalist's readers. You've got to make sure you are really specific. This is something that is so crucial. It's got to be absolutely relevant. You've got to have relevance in any press release. I had one the other day, somebody sending me a press release saying, hi, please could you cover this on the jamiegoddard.com website? It's all about mums and toddlers and potty training. And I just had to get back to the lady. I wasn't going to be mean about it, but I did get back and I said, may I suggest you actually check the content of the website before you actually send a release out, because you've just really wasted my time looking at your email. And I'm not being mean, but I'm just wanting to just give you a tip. It's going to be valuable for your career moving forward. Do your homework. And I'm saying that to all of you, please do your homework. Look at the relevance, look at the person, the writer's audience. Who is it they're going out to? Okay, so make sure that what you're sending out is absolutely, totally, completely 100% relevant for what you're sending. Okay, don't waste anybody's time, because the problem is, as soon as they realize that you're wasting their time, unfortunately, they are unlikely to ever open an email from you again. It's an absolute bummer, but them's the facts. So just please be very careful. Okay, and then, so, you know, and again, with the quotes, make sure it's relevant. So for example, for Rewind Your Body Clock, for my latest book, I had Jo Wood, Ronnie Smith's ex-wife, the ultimate rock chick. Jo is now a massive influencer. Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones. Jo is a massive health and wellbeing influencer. She's one of my stable mates at Natural Health magazine, and she was only too kind. She actually wrote me 2 things to choose from, and I was able to use both of her quotes. But you see, the thing is, she's so relevant to my audience. She's a lady of a certain age. She's got a massive social following, and let's face it, she's connected to literally everybody in the music business. This is a mover and shaker. So she was a perfect person for me to actually get my foreword and, you know, my back cover blurb from. So please make sure any contacts that you're making and any info, you know, any quotes or anything like that, it's got to be to your market and relevant, and grow your business. Please remember that, take that home. Finishing touches, final thoughts, important points or poignant statements. You know, I think, you know, let's face it, for us in our field, you know, let's say this new therapy that I'm doing specifically targeted at people with eczema. Remember, you know, I always say to you, never ever mention named conditions on your website, in your literature or anything like that, because that's not legal. You're not allowed to do that. But when you're sending a press release out, then you can talk, you can be as upfront as you like. You don't have to pull your punches. You can say, I've got a new treatment for eczema. I've got a new treatment for migraine. I've got a new treatment for insomnia. Whatever it is that you're shouting from the rooftops, you can use those named conditioned words, okay, named conditions words, because that again will make it more relatable. Don't expect your journalist to be able to pick through your suggestions. Itchy, dry skin for eczema, as we've said. Autoimmune, scaly, dry, itchy skin for psoriasis. Can't sleep, tossing and turning all night. Your day's ruined because you're just so exhausted because you haven't been able to sleep, rather than saying on your website, insomnia. So just remember, and if you're confused about what you can and can't say, go back and have a look at my video. I know I keep sending you back to, these are resources you should be using. This is valuable stuff for you. Okay, so remember to add something up with something really poignant, maybe even a case study, so that it really drives it home to the journalist. Okay, and then Finally, you're ready to stitch all these individual pieces together. Use the format below as a suggestion. So this is what Rowan has put together for you. Top of title, pet title, your logo, release date, when it's allowed to be published, etc. We spoke about that. Always, always, always start right at the very top with press release in capital letters. And remember, I've actually got that lovely press release template for you in the video that I did on press releases. So I've got it structured there, what needs to be in capitals, what needs to be in lowercase, what needs to be underlined, what doesn't, and so on. So go back to that for the structure as well. Then the next thing you need to have is your introduction. Use a summary information to give some insight into what you'll be discussing in the release. So you've got to hit them hard with the topic. Then you've got to go into setting out 2 or 3 key facts and quotes or what have you in paragraph form, explaining the news you are releasing and why it's important. In the conclusion, make sure you add, and I've highlighted this here for you, call to action. What do you want people to do now they have read the press release? Visit a website, register for an event, follow you on social media. What is it that you want them to do? If you don't put a call to action in, which is call me now or whatever, then you know, that is, you know, you're wasting your press release. I'm just checking I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm going to come back to you. Okay, so what do you reckon? I know Rowan's had to go, so I've got another meeting, but he just said, let me know if there's any feedback that you've got, if there's anything that I haven't covered or anything that wasn't quite clear. How are you feeling about all of that? Does it make sense to you?
Actually, Janie, I think that's a very good presentation altogether, and it certainly, I've looked at it with interest because I don't very often go anywhere else for this sort of thing. There's a number of points in there which perhaps I'll have a think about and then maybe drop you an email.
Sure.
One of which is your comment of naming conditions in websites and the SEOs demanded by Google and the search engines. When we look at the searches that are actually made by the public, they do mention these conditions, and it's part of the SEO that they pick them up in their troll of your website.
Yes, that's right. You're absolutely right, Tony. It's a very, very difficult situation for us. If you go take a look at that video, have you looked at the video? It's called What We Can and Can't Say in Our Advertising. Have you looked at
I haven't. I will do though.
Okay. Tony Gordon has to go. Tony, thank you so much. Thank you for your very kind comments. Brilliant. Yes, looking forward to using the vouchers and the loyalty card. Thank you so much, Tony. Yes. Okay. So, Tony. Oh, there you are. Now, there you are, Tony. I'm looking at you again, Tony Hartman. Yes, Tony. It's very, very, very difficult. We are so between a rock and a hard place. You've got to understand that under law, websites are now recognised as being advertising. Okay, so the rules are that if you have a website and you name a named condition, asthma, eczema, menopause. I mean, I've been on to the ASA, I've been on to the government about this. You know, menopause is not a medical condition; it's a life stage. But no, it is definitely an arts. They are absolutely blooming useless. I mean, they really are. And I know this is being recorded and I don't care who hears this, but they are absolutely useless. They have no idea how to distinguish between, you know, what is and what isn't medical. So the problem is, it does mean that you've got to be really, really smart. In that video, I do talk about ways and means around this and SEO. So you are quite right. But if you look at the video that we did with Hynek Associates, they talk about SEO and how you can very cleverly pepper your site with questions, what the public are actually asking. And you can do it very, very cleverly. Also, don't forget that by virtue of being a CMA member, because we've got on our website, we've got articles on what is eczema, because we're not treating anybody, we're a membership organization. Eczema, asthma, menopause, migraine, whatever it is. we've got all of those conditions there. So you could always cleverly link from your site to the page on all about whatever condition it is that you're working with. So the fact is that, and also, of course, don't forget on the CMA site, on your page on the CMA site, there's a link from our site to your site. So automatically that drags you up the rankings anyway and makes your site instantly much more valuable, because we've got people linking into us like Channel 5, the BBC, Oxford University, Cambridge University, University of Miami Medical School, and so on and so forth. So we've got all these really high quality, particularly .edu links, which have the highest value. So don't worry too much about it, Tony. You cannot use those name conditions, absolutely, because you are in danger legally if you're doing that. So I cannot advise you to do it. If you choose to do it off your own bat, then so be it. But you have been told, you have been warned. But there are ways and means around doing it. So please go and watch that other video just to make sure you've got that really under your belt, so you know exactly what you can, what the parameters are, what you can and can't do.
I tend to hide those phrases in the SEOs of the pictures rather than in the text. Yes,
absolutely. Yes, that's very, very clever. And I cannot comment about it. You might think that I couldn't possibly comment, but yeah, that's a very, very clever way of doing it. In fact, you can even do things like somebody sort of holding their head, somebody holding their tummy. There are so many clever things that you can do when you start really thinking it through. And yes, you can hide things behind pictures and all sorts of clever things. So bear in mind, there's a lot that can be done. And if you, and also everybody, if you do get stuck with things like that, speak to Hynek Associates, because they do develop websites and they'll be able to give you some support and help with all of that as well. So I know we're coming to, we've come to the end. So I'm going to just quickly look at the comments.
Jenny, I'm going to have to go now.
Yes, that's fine. Yes, I know.
Take care of yourself.
Yes. Okay. Take care. See you soon. Vivian just says session very useful. Vivian's had to go as well. Everybody, I just want to thank you so much for being with me today. And Jill. Thank you. And take care, everybody. Thank you so very much for being with me today. You're amazing, as always. Keep shining your beautiful lights out into the world. Keep helping people. And I shall see you next week. Lots and lots of love. Bye.